we've got two people writing this down. Motion to direct the Corporation Council to research short-term rentals and make recommendation to City Council for appropriate ordinances. Yes, Councilman Ramick, and I believe Councilman Johnson, so that would be a motion by Councilman Ramick, supported by Councilman Johnson. Is there any discussion? Mr. Ramick.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to, as corporate counsel, if the state doesn't have anything on this, I mean, are we allowed to make our own ordinance without there? Because, I mean, when, as the chairman knows, we kind of looked into group homes, and I believe that they're businesses, but the state tells us we can't.
Well, that's, I believe, Ann Arbor, or at least Councilman had brought this up. So I think let's just let him.
No, I agree.
To see what is the art of the possible. This certainly isn't a new item.
Yep.
In the state, Traverse City, and I know that there have been some attempts to be very restrictive, and some communities have done some local ordinances, and then there's been pushback. So honestly, I don't know where it stands, because some have tried to ban it, and there's a pushback to say that people should have a right to do what they want to do in their homes. Some communities have looked at this, like we have our rental inspections. So to have, I believe Ann Arbor requires an inspection every single year. At least that's what I found. But it's been raised, from the council. I know others that have utilized it. But yeah, Airbnb and their brethren are here to stay, but we want to make certain that they're not a nuisance.
Through the chair, I agree with that 100% because they are. I just watched something literally in Nashville. People are renting, Airbnbs or whatever they're called, and these are targeted places because they know all these people are coming in there. They're staying and wait for them all to leave. Well, they got all their stuff in there, and then they're hitting these houses. Well, everybody's downtown Nashville having turned up. So I agree 100%.
Good chair, I think.
Yes.
There are, Taylor really does have ordinances, obviously, that can be enforced if these Airbnbs get on hand, such as the noise ordinance, parking ordinances, public nuisance ordinances. But it's been a constant battle between municipalities in Michigan and the state's position. The state has, and Chairman may know more about this than I do, but there has been quite a number of months legislation that's been introduced to actually protect short-term rentals in Michigan. And of course, there's been a number of lobbyists, the Michigan Municipal League, one of the Michigan Townships Association, who have been fighting that and actually introduced contra ordinances or contra proposed statutes to prevent short-term rentals. But that, so far, there's been nothing passed, but that's a constant battle that's been going back and forth in the legislature.
I think that's an apt description there. The folks that are behind Airbnb and others are putting a lot of money into lobbying, and then there are the other communities where they're having issues as you just alluded to. So we can look at it. Corporation Council, what can be done where state law is silent? It certainly is within our purview to what is not reserved for the state. We certainly can write our own ordinances. All right. So there is a motion by Councilman. Does someone else want to be recognized? No, it's not yet. Okay. Motion by Councilman Ramick, supported by Councilman Johnson. I will restate this since it's not on the part of the agenda. Motion to direct the Corporation Council to research short-term rentals and make recommendation to City Council for appropriate ordinances. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Yes, this habit, motion carried. Is there any further open business from the council? Hearing none. Thank you, sir, for waiting patiently. Will you state your name and address for the record?
Name is Clyde Moore, 15605 Vivian. I'd just like to
Sir, please, let the mayor speak if you'd like.
We
to
are controlling
recognize
that a
the
little more.
recognition.
We're looking at trying to get that house that's right behind 7-Eleven torn down.
Right.
Because the front porch is falling off of it. Unfortunately, that is a longer process than what I like, but we are going down that road right now. But we're seeing a lot of people.
Tour down through there.
Sir,
early in
sir,
the morning
sir,
or
sir.
in the evening.
Please let the mayor speak. I'll recognize you once again.
But just one more thing. It's not against the law to sleep on a park bench or a bench that's on the street. Whether anybody likes it or not, whether I like it or not, it's not against the law.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right front, I don't like it, because if they end up starting in the neighborhood, that ain't gonna work, because there's a lot of people, really ticked right now with that. Braxton had opened up that place, never took a survey in the, subdivision. It's just getting bad, let's just put it that way. And there's more neighbors, they come to me and complain. Gene, I've talked to Gene, I've talked to Fritz back there, we all live in the neighborhood. We just wanna see something done before it gets too bad, before somebody gets hurt. There's some real shady people walking up and down through there now.
Through the chair, we
Mr.
have
Mayor.
a few spots.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name's Arthur Sheldon. I live at 15115 Westlake. As he said, I've already had people with track marks coming up to my front yard asking me for rides. I'm seeing people urinating, pooping, and everything else right on the sidewalk, right at the bus stop, right at Eureka and Westlake. Got a lady sleeping all hours of the day right in front of the old Century 21 building. Okay? I get it that this is a humanitarian thing, but this does not belong a block away from an elementary school and across the street from an old folks home. I've got 4 daughters. I could be living in a house that's paid for right now, but I decided to move to a better neighborhood, one of the best neighborhoods in Taylor that the city has to offer, to provide safety for my daughters and my wife. And this is something that I don't need to worry about. A bunch of people that they give up on life. They'd rather shoot dope in their arms. And now they're coming to my house. Now they're urinating in front of my daughters, in front of a school, in front of everybody else's kids. This place doesn't belong there. I get it. I get their mission. But their mission needs to be put in an area secluded away from homes, away from elementary schools, away from the elderly. This is crazy. And then, like Clyde said, it was never brought up to the community that it's being shoved into. We were assured that this place was only going to be, they cook food, they go out and distribute it. And like Clyde said, they are walking up and down all day long. I'll guarantee Myers is a lot safer place at night now. Because now they're further down Eureka. Now they're next to my wife and kids. Would you want that around your wife and kids?
Through the chair.
Would you want that around your wife? Would you want that around your wife and
Let me
kids?
answer the question. The question is no, okay? But what do you want me to do? Do you want me to round them all up and run them somewhere else? That's against the law, sir. That's the point. I'm hearing your frustration, and everybody sitting up here, including me, all live in the city of Taylor and deal with this kind of stuff on a regular basis. I don't like it either. But there's limits on what we can do.
Let me apologize.
Who approved
Hold
this?
on, hold on. This is why talk to the chair. The gentleman before you, as well as yourself, you turn directly at the mayor. And when you do that, right, you become defensive, the mayor becomes defensive. That's why within Robert's rules, people speak through the chair. You state your statement without trying, I understand you're upset. Anybody would be upset. But what we don't want to have happen, and apologize for allowing the direct conversation with the mayor, with any other council member here. I want to allow you time, you have 30 seconds left to speak, state your piece. And the next step is if you see these individuals committing any crime, you contact the police. But on a public street, and we've researched with Corporation Council, panhandling at I-94 and Telegraph, that is their legally protected right. The public sidewalks are legally protected rights. If there are benches that are not owned by the city of Taylor and not authorized by the city of Taylor, we've seen folks from time to time try to put up benches that are really advertisement signs, but that is one possible item if they're sleeping on benches. But let me allow you to finish your statement in the last 30 seconds.
So to your statement,
Yes.
what are my rights? What's my rights?
Your rights are to be able
To take it.
to go on the public sidewalk and go freely on the public sidewalks.
Yeah, and as an actual taxpayer, I'm supposed to just take this.
I hear your concern.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Go over there and see it.
I have them living behind my house, in the woods, no longer there, about a half mile from where you're at. So yes, I have had that.
Yeah, well, now that there's a soup kitchen in our neighborhood and a shelter, now it's become a lot more prevalent issue.
I was not aware that Chrysler had moved over there, to be honest.
Somebody had to prove it.
Madam Clerk?
There was